Okay, it's going. Yeah. A little bit later than scheduled, but I needed to throw some meat in my face real quick, so I cut up some cheese and I don't know, meat. I had some summer sausage just now, so I'm not like streaming on an empty stomach like I normally do at this time of day. But anyhow, this is Sarah, and today I'm altering this thing, which I picked up at Target with Mark, I think the week I got back from Tokyo. It's a dinosaur mask. I think it's technically supposed to be a T-Rex face. However, I don't know, T-Rexes, raptors, they look kind of the same, so I'm gonna call it it's a raptor mask now. I'm dubbing this my raptor face. And this is super important because I also found out that same week that I'm actually going to be participating in a panel at San Diego Comic-Con this year. It's my first Comic Con of any sort ever, so I've been wanting to go pretty much my whole life, really, and I haven't had anyone to go with or any reason to be there. And I don't know, I'm not particularly into cosplaying, but I figured I'd go as myself, whatever this is right now, so I'm going to wear the Shiban project in whatever state that it's in at that point in time. Probably bring Noodle in his papoose, which I need to finish up, and we'll probably stream the construction of that. And I'm going to wear this. So I'm going to give this a little bit better paint job, something that matches this skin tone a little bit better. At least make it kind of a grayscale. Right now it's kind of this like poop brown color. I don't know. It's like an orange. And where it looks nice and I like this and everything, I don't know, like my raptor persona in my mind is a bit more of a cool gray tone scale, color scheme, whatever. But yeah, let's see. I'm gonna turn the camera down. Ooh, hey Kia. Yeah, I am having summer sausage. That is definitely going on. Oh, that's definitely not what I wanted. There, okay. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna get started because I'm gonna say around 4:30 when Mark gets home, I'm going to hard stop. And I need to fill up the kiddie pool because I have this cool summer tradition of filling up this big inflatable kiddie pool thing outside and sitting in it during the weekend with my friends. It's like the only thing that makes summer here in Vegas passable. Oh shit, I was gonna put water in a cup. Ah! I never did that. Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna have to go run and get a little cup of water real quick. But what I just spilled out on the my palette right here, this is gesso. I've talked about this before. For people who aren't familiar with the gessoing technique, you can pretty much put this stuff on anything and it becomes a painting surface. It's used on canvases like mainly, but I don't know. I put it on all sorts of shit. It also makes a great light diffuser. So if you put this on something that's transparent, it automatically turns it into a light capturing thing. But yeah, this has a little bit of a tooth on it, but I just want to make sure that my acrylic paint sticks for sure, so I'm going to give it a quick layer of that. After I get... I'm going to put my paint water in. Which as I'm looking around here, I don't even know where my plastic cups are. So I might be SOL. That sucks. Oh wait. Ah! I was filming it. Shit. Oh. I was gonna say I could use this, but it's storing something. It's probably protecting some very old negatives that I don't want to get fucked up. Ah! Okay, I'll be right back. For those of you who have joined me for this endeavor, how are you doing? I'll let you answer that since this is gonna have a delay for a second, and then I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get my water. Wow, amazingly, we have no cheap plastic cups, so I'm like sacrificing this like food thing for my painting. Wow, I'm a dick. Oh well, it is what it is. So anyhow, I should put the chat in the front so I can actually see people talking. Oh, I'm drinking Kia. I'm drinking just it's a dirty beer. I'm having a Pacifico with some Tabasco and Worcestershire sauce in it, which is really good. It's like a impatient man's uh, michelada. But I'm having a beer because I spent the morning listening to Rush, which is one of my favorite bands in the world. Which is, I don't know. I don't know how the world feels about the band Rush, but they're fantastic. Fight me. I've been a kind of a fan of them since I got out of high school. I had a friend that I was close to back then who was a true fanatic of the band, and he kind of is responsible for hooking me on them. But Mark is consequently a fan as well, but I haven't actually listened to any of their albums in a good couple of years now. So for whatever reason, something reminded me of a song of theirs yesterday, and it stuck in my head. And when I got up this morning, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna put on this album, one of their like 8,000 albums that they've released. This one particularly being called oh man, Snakes and Arrows. Snakes and Arrows, guys. So that is probably my favorite Rush album. It came out 10 years ago, back in 2007, and it's a really good album, like alone. But the lyrics, if you know anything about Rush, you also know that they write fantastic lyrics, and their songs actually are about things that have significant meaning. So I was hearing all these lyrics again for the first time in quite a while. I don't want to say it's been 10 years since I listened to the album last, but I'm going to say it's been about a good 5. And this one song came on, and I just like burst into tears and bawled for a good 10-15 minutes while it was playing and after it was playing, because it reminded me of the first time I heard it when I was 21 and what I thought of the lyrics, like the words, and the effect that it had on me. And all of that kind of came like rushing back, no pun intended, I guess. All that came kind of barreling back into the forefront of my mind, and I just like lost my shit, which felt good. But I mean, it was like a good kind of cry, but I don't know. So it was that kind of morning. I was just sort of waiting in memory lane, feeling stuff, listening to old songs, which you gotta do once in a while, I guess. And if you aren't familiar with Rush's music, or you just think they're too nerdy to listen to, I don't know, give them a listen anyway. They're great. That's not even opinion, that's fact. I'm gonna go as far as to say that. Rush is a fantastic band. Uh-oh. Cool. It smelled like the air was burning. Riz, yes, that's pretty normal for here. It's not so bad if you hide inside like I do. It's just part of my life. But yeah, if you do have to go out to run errands or anything, it's punishing. That's why we do try to meet up every Friday and drink in the kiddie pool once the sun goes down. It's not so bad. It does stay warm quite late. So if you do want to sit in the pool, even unheated, it stays really warm like late into the night. So it's a nice way to unwind for us. And I know this stuff looks pretty white, but as you can see, it's drying clear, and it does leave quite a bit of tooth on the surface, so if you were to run your hand over the raptor's face, now that I've covered it in gesso, it has a nice tack to it, which is great for picking up acrylic paint, because acrylic paint doesn't like sticking to things, because it's, again, you know, it's plastic. Plastic on plastic just slides around. It's no fun. So I just want to make sure I get a nice... probably don't have to do multiple coats of this. One will probably do, and then I can start in with my color, whatever I decide to mix up. The nice thing about this is this mask cost me, I think, $12, so if I completely mess this up, I can just go buy another one and try again. Or just paint over it again, because that's also a possibility. Oh, the thing I didn't do before I started painting this is try it on. I totally should have shown you guys what it looked like on my face. It's really cool because there's this strap across the bottom, right there, and that goes on your chin, so when you talk and you move your mouth, the jaw of the dinosaur moves too. So it looks like it's talking with its sharp little pokey teeth, which is awesome. That was kind of the selling point for me. Because I love layers of absurdity. Ooh. Hi, Vi! YouTube didn't notify me of my streaming. Bad YouTube, no. It was getting super hot. Yeah. Yeah. Nevada is super hot right now. Like, we tried doing the kiddie pool last Friday? Like, which was like 5 days ago, I guess? Wow. That was like the opening season for the kiddie pool, and it cooled down just the day before we filled up the pool with the water, so it didn't warm up as much as we were kind of hoping it would. But it seems like this weekend it will, the heat's gonna stick. It's gonna stay in the triple digits, I hope, and we won't freeze like we did on Friday. Because, yeah, we froze. It got pretty chilly. And I'm thinking I'm gonna mix a fancy cocktail this time. Like, I want to make a smoothie or something that tastes like a creamsicle. I think that's going to become my goal. So I'm thinking I'm gonna get some orange sherbet and cream, and probably just use vodka, and I might make another like strawberry syrup or something to put in it just for sweetness. But I'm gonna play around with the blender and ice cream and shit and try to make something that's refreshing that we can sip on. Because, yeah, last week we just downed a ton of beer because it was hot and got drunk really fast, which there's no problem with that either. It's just, if there's any way I can slow it down a little bit, I'm gonna try. Okay, so that's the brown. The brown has been given a nice thin coat of gesso. It's drying. I think I'm probably gonna paint the peach part too. Just do it. Open the jaw. I'm very, very satisfied with my my purchase. My $12 dinosaur mask purchase. I'm also going to have to modify how this thing fits on my face, because right now it fits, but it could definitely be a bit more comfortable. So I'm going to alter all the crap that's on the inside of it and the harness that goes across the back of the head, just so if I am in fact, I'm going to say I am in fact going to wear this to Comic-Con one of the days. I want to make sure that it's comfortable and it doesn't give me a headache and that it looks optimally cool. Not that wearing a plastic dinosaur mask is at all cool ever in any way, but I endeavor to make it so. "100 layers of paint challenge. Am I making a costume?" Riz, I'm making this for myself. I'm gonna wear this mask to Comic-Con next month. I think it's just the one day I'm going to be there. And yes, you can totally come get tipsy in my kiddie pool. Hey, Caleb. And everyone else who has joined me in the past, like, few minutes. They're totally different from each other. Staying in the triple digits, I hope, is something I would never say. Ha. No, there is no humidity in Las Vegas, Vi, so the triple digits isn't so bad. If you can avoid it during the day, which most of my friends, like, we don't have to work in the sun, so it's like a wash, it's a non-issue. But the triple digits does help the kiddie pool water stay warm well into the night. On a sufficiently hot enough day, the water will stay warm and comfortable, like, up until midnight, so we can stay in the water socializing and drinking and doing what we do longer. Because yeah, this past Friday we all kind of, it was a little colder than comfortable. So the heat isn't always a bad thing if you wield it in the right way. Ooh, hi Canada. I'm going to comment, but the rush props got me. Ha! Thanks for the print. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, I have to, like, squint because my vision is... Golgathan. Golgathan? Thank you. Cool. Is it you're from Canada? I hate, it's like a stereotype, but you're like, the rush comment got me, and I'm like, ha. I actually landed in, I think when I came home from Europe last year, we landed in, how was I? I landed at the YYZ airport, and I think I got a stamp in my passport that said that, and I was very happy about that, because that was one of my super secret life goals. But yeah, I'm like, my favorite band is Rush. It's like this secret thing that not very many people know, other than, like, Mark and you guys, since I'm telling you. I'm pretty sure I've got everything covered. But I'm gonna just go over some of these rougher areas a little bit more just in case I missed them, because I'm not sure if the gesso got into the deep raptor crevices in between all of the scaly bits. Gotta get that gesso up in the raptor crevices, just saying. The song separate ways by Journey so like. Aw. We now have, oh, Black Nothing don't do anything funny. Aw. I'm glad my Rush tastes are secret and safe with you guys. No, I have this funny memory back when I was in art school, where I was in this printmaking class, and we were tasked to make little art books using different printing techniques. So this one, it was critique day, and there's this one girl in my class who she passed out her little art book to everybody in the class, because everybody got to have a print of everyone else's book to kind of handle and look at. And she passed out her booklet to all of us, and we were investigating it and, you know, flipping through the pages. And the art professor, like, commented, she goes, you know, this looks very much like a Rush album cover from the 80s. And it had that sort of culty, like, aesthetic. There's this Rush album where there's like a pentagram drawn and like a dude with his back to the camera with his arms out, like touching it. That's kind of iconic. And as soon as the professor said, yeah, it reminds me of a Rush album, I looked at the artist book and I went, yeah, it kind of does. And then someone else in the class commented, like, you know, well, yeah, except Rush is terrible, and who actually listens to Rush except for like old nerdy guys or something to that effect, or I forget what comment they made, but they made this comment asserting that like no one listens to Rush except for this particular type of nerd dude, and everyone laughed like in agreement to this statement. And then I, for whatever reason, felt compelled to speak up and state like, well, Rush is awesome, and I'm a Rush fan, and I'm not an older nerdy guy, I'm a younger female. And like everyone stopped laughing and got super quiet and had nothing to say. There's like no retort, like no one said anything to socially like buffer the moment that I outed myself and said this. It just got perfectly silent, and then the critique moved on. And I was like, wow. Like, the regret was immediate, but I'll never forget that. It was like one of those moments in art school where I was like, man, I totally don't fit in here. What am I doing? But Rush is awesome. I would do it again if I was in the same situation. And I will defend that opinion quite fiercely. Younger, nerdy female about to get crucified? Yes. Most definitely. Alright, now I gotta mix my color. So the way to paint anything, or at least the way that I've kind of learned to do it, is you cover everything in your mid-tone. Because in rendering, like whether in 2D or 3D, it's a matter of blocking in like your base color, which is like the medium between your highlights and your shadows. So you pick like what the average tone, like darkness, like value, I use the word value, Sarah, like the average value is of the thing that you're painting, and then you completely coat it in that. And since I want to use kind of a gray color scheme, I'm gonna probably paint the brown head portion up here like a 50%, like maybe slightly warm gray, because I don't want it to be like gray. I want it to have like a little bit of hue in it, but just a tiny bit. So I'm gonna go through my bin of paint and cross my fingers, hope that I have enough of what I think I'm gonna use. But I think I'm going to mix the rest of my gesso that I've got here with whatever the hell color this is. This is unbleached titanium. There, unbleached titanium, which is just not white. And another thing that I was taught by my mentor when I was a young one was to never use black when you're trying to paint something that's like organic. Like in painting, like if you're painting like a face or like leaves or plants or fruit or something, especially using oil paints, like you never want to use a black paint to darken your colors, because it just muddies them. So I try to stay true to that advice because if you do use black in most contexts, it just sucks the vibrance out of anything that you're painting. There's other ways to darken colors other than black that have a much more satisfying lifelike effect. And in the context of pigments, one of the ways to do that is to take two opposite colors, like, oh, I don't know, like phthalo green or phthalo blue and alizarin crimson, which are really, really dark, like pure pigmented paints, and then mix them together. And the fact that they're both complementary colors causes them to clash and cancel each other out, and they dull one another down to the point where red is no longer red and green is no longer green. They just kind of become a dark, like, organic black or gray or brown. But if you don't mix it with any white or any lighter colors, and you just want that to act as a black, it'll stay black visually on its own, and it will have a much better richness than just using black out of the tube. And then if you choose to mix that with lighter colors, it'll like have an effect on whatever you choose to mix it with, based on whether you use green and red, or blue and red, or like a dark purple in alizarin crimson. So just something to note. I'm deciding right now whether I'm going to do that or not. Like, I'm either going to completely throw what I just told you to the wind and pull my black tube of paint out, or I'm going to stay in good practice and use something like what am I doing? Phthalo green. Okay, so here's my black, in case I do want to use a dull, lifeless gray effect to my color. Here we go. Okay, so diazonine purple is a good false black or organic black. If you mix that with like a phthalo green or alizarin crimson, which is, I'm sure, in here somewhere. Or magenta? No. You can. I just bought a big thing. Where is that? When I primed that canvas last month, I got this tube of bronze. A big ass, it wasn't a tube, it was like a quart of bronze acrylic paint, which might actually come in handy if I could find it. Yeah. Mark and I completely rearranged the workroom last month, so nothing, I don't know where anything is anymore. That's the consequence of that. Certain things are very organized, and other things are very much not. Metallic teal. But I'm not going to be a teal raptor. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll figure it out. Okay. I'm thinking I'm not going to go the fine art route of mixing a organic black, because I'm kind of impatient, and I'm not doing like a fancy ass like flat oil painting or anything. I'm just creating a monochromatic like raptor face. So in the interest of this not taking forever, I'm gonna mix these two colors together, and since they're opposites. Like I'm gonna use primarily the yellow, but I'm gonna try and dull it down using a blue or a blue-green, and these two colors together should like create a nice gray or a muddy brown, kind of a desaturated brown, which is what I'm going for. It won't be as brown as the face is currently, and then I'm going to dull that further using some of the shitty black that I just said I shouldn't use, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like breaking my own rules. I never listen to myself. Sarah, go, go. Ooh, I just spooged all over myself. Good thing I'm sitting on a towel. Ooh, that's a fun noise. Okie dokie. Hey, Tony. I don't have enough green? What do you mean I don't have enough green? Where do I not have enough green? In my life? I have plenty of green in my life. And yes, good old shitty black. I think that's its new name. It's just shitty black. I hate it when I spooge all over myself. Really? Kia, do you really hate it when you spooge all over yourself? Okay, let's do this. So I'm going to use the tiniest bit of this because I'm pretty sure okay, so it's gonna create a green. It looks like a, let me hold that up so you can see it. It's creating like a green gray, which is kind of good. Like, I'm down with that. I'll accept it. Mark's gonna come home and be like, why are you using all of my dishes and lids for painting, you horrible person? Oh, the other thing that I was totally going to use, except I couldn't find it anywhere in the workroom, was a baby powder. That's another really great thing that you can use to force texture on surfaces. So since acrylic paint tends to dry kind of shiny because it's plastic, you can put baby powder in it and it will turn it very matte and kind of crusty and give it a little bit of like a more of like a porous stone texture on the surface, which in this case is kind of what I want. So that's legit like a green, but like a gray green, which is kind of nice actually. Getting browner. Okay, so I'm going to modify this with a little bit of shitty black. You know what I'm talking about. This stuff. Ooh, almost too much. Okay, so that sucked the life out of it to the degree that I was, like, hoping it would. That sounded really bad. So this is... It's hard to tell because the lighting is so fucking terrible. I apologize for that. You'll see it on the mask, but this is... It's kind of a lifeless green, yellow, gray. It's exactly what I kind of want, though. It's like a cool brown. But it's a good base color, so I'm gonna stick with that. Let's do it. Okay, girl. All right, Raptor, you're about to become a different color. Actually, I think I'm gonna warm it up slightly with a tiny little poop of this. It's not clogged. Sharp implement. This will do. With a tiny bit of something wrong. Except this is super clogged. Ah! This poor Allen range. You've been sacrificed. It's now brown. He's had a rough day. Okay, tiny poop of the brown. Just a tiny little smear. Come on. Don't force it! Come on, seriously? I don't know what's clogging it, but whatever. I think the paint is just that chunky in there. Well, that sucks. Oh shit, doesn't obey. I don't normally do any acrylic painting, so a lot of these are incredibly old. And I don't get out often enough to replace them. Like, I never get money and think to myself, oh, I'm gonna go out and replace my paints today. It just doesn't happen. At least my acrylic paints. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, Sarah, quit deliberating over it. Just jump in. So this is like a very olivey gray. I don't know how it looks on the camera for those of you who are watching this, but it's got a very dinosaur appeal right now. But it is definitely more on the gray side than green. So I think this will make a good base. And again, this is my mid-tone. I'm gonna probably lighten it up from here. The goal is that it looks like it would be part of my color scheme, like my Sarah skin tone is a Sarah beast. So I kind of want it to match the white assness of my white flesh skin and kind of blend in with my hair. And my hair is kind of this like weird dirty blonde color. So I'm hoping that whatever color this ends up being, it just looks like it's an extension of my color scheme, which the orange brown definitely was not. So yeah, when I bought this, I already knew I was gonna end up painting it. Ooh, mushroom Swiss burger. Enjoy your burger, Vigre. Here's where I could have probably used some masking tape, but I'm just gonna be careful. Since all of this is getting painted anyway, it's probably not the end of the world if I get paint. Actually, I think I have paper tape here. I might actually throw some of that on the teeth, since I don't think I'm gonna mess with those too much, since they're already kind of the right off-white color that they need to be. Let me throw some paper tape on those real quick, just so I don't accidentally bump them and turn them green, or any other color for that matter. Tape the raptor. Yeah, after I'm done doing this, I'm probably gonna turn Rush back on and jam out some more, because that was totally enjoyable. They have a lot of good albums. Like, I'm a fan as much of old Rush as I am new Rush. I think I'm kind of partial to Snakes and Arrows because it came out the year that I fell in love with Rush, so it has some significant meaning to me. It was also the album that came out, I guess, when I was like young. I was like entering into life as a young adult, so it was kind of my theme music for the college experience back then. So anytime I hear any of those songs, I remember what life was like back then. And if you're a fan of Rush, you know that much of their lyrics are very prophetic, so hearing a lot of them again got me choked up, because I remember thinking about how the lyrics applied to the world back then, and considering how they still apply now, but in a different way, and how much things have changed in the past 10 years. Oh man. Raptor face. Spot masking. Yeah, I had the last of the summer sausage real quick, just so I'm not like completely incoherent and and energyless while doing this. Ooh. Hmm? Oh, mud. That would be creepy. I've never put mud on my face. Like, I know it's supposed to have minerals and stuff and be good for you, but I'm just not really a fan of, like, putting shit on my face in any capacity. Like, makeup or otherwise. It's just not my thing. Like, I don't even really like people touching my face, let alone, like, mud being applied to my being. But that's just me. This quantifies, no, not quantifies, qualifies as me putting on makeup right now. Whew. Okay. Oh god. Okay, that's good enough. Screw it. One more. One more piece of tape and then I'm painting. Alright, keep painting, Raptor. Woo! I can't tell if this looks super green or if it only looks green because I'm painting over a warm color. Difficult to say right now. Does it look super green to you guys, or does it look more like on the gray, earthy clay color? Not that you guys have a super good vantage point and or representation of what the color is through the camera, but I'm just curious how it looks to you guys. I think I'm okay with it in any case, even if it is kind of green. It looks nice. Rush. But yeah, that's like, has anyone else had one of those moments where like you're listening to a song and then the next thing you know you're like fucking crying hard? Because that was me at like 10:30 this morning. It just sort of happened. It wasn't like a bad thing, it was just a thing. Mask the elastic, so I have to be careful with that too. That's fine. Dark gray, good. As long as it generally looks grayish, then that's what I was going for. I haven't really decided if I'm going to leave the elastic that's on here alone or if I'm going to replace that too. I guess I can decide that later, but no, do it later. Do elicit strong emotional responses. That was a mechanical way of saying that. Heart-wrenching rush tune. Nobody's Hero. Ooh, what album is that on? I think, like, depending on the context, they're all kind of heart-wrenching. Like, their lyrics are so human, and I think that's why they've remained my favorite band throughout pretty much my entire life. It's just, there's no point in time and no song that I don't listen to and relate to pretty much entirely. It's just immediate feels. And I appreciate the cranial degree of their songwriting. They just seem like great guys. They consequently happen to be one of Mark's favorite bands too, which is kind of great because we were able to go to a Rush concert a few years ago together, and I think it was the last time ever that they came to Las Vegas, so I was happy that I got to experience that with him, because it seems like they're kind of retired now, or are temporarily retired. I'm not really sure what the deal is. But in my lifetime, I've seen 3 Rush concerts now, 2 of which were 10 years ago when I first was kind of jumping on the Rush wave. Because that's what you do to waves, you jump on them. And yeah, once, I'm gonna say it's 3 years ago? Yeah, I was 28. And Mark and I drank and sang lyrics in the audience. It was the best. Throw some tape on that. A little bit more masking on the jaw. Long with the crew. So I think the plan for Comic-Con, again, it seems I'm going to be speaking on a panel. It's a Westworld panel about how humans are going to relate to future technology, which is kind of what I do. Or at least a lot of my artist statements happen to kind of touch on that, so it seems appropriate. But the day before the panel, I have some free time to just wander around the con and appreciate it for what it is, which will be nice. But I don't want to not dress up, because I know this from Ren Fair. There's nothing that's more of a bummer than going to Ren Fair and being the only person not in costume. So I figured I would wear all my stuff, like my Sarah garb, and go full Raptor at Comic-Con. So I'll be doing my own thing in my own little world, as per usual. Should be good. Counterparts. I probably have it. I might not have listened to it. That's nuts. There's like entire Rush albums that I haven't heard. Or if I have heard them, it's been like once and a very long time ago. Counterparts. Mark might have had me listen to that. Mark likes Signals. Like, I think that's his favorite Rush album, which I legit hadn't heard until him and I met, and then we were on our way to Maker Faire one year, and he put it on, and I was like, wow, I've literally not heard any of these songs, and I call myself a huge Rush fan, which is nuts. Oh god. They have that much music, apparently, that that's possible. Okay, so I guess now that I have the base coat down, it's just a matter of adding shadows and highlights, which I'll probably dry brush on this biatch. So this is where I'd probably need my talc or my baby powder, because that will, right now this thing looks pretty shiny, right? It has kind of like a metallic sheen to it, which I'm kind of digging. But as much as I like it, I know that raptors generally aren't metallic. I mean, I could be a metallic raptor. I guess that's allowed. But I kind of wanted to have more of a normal, natural raptor aesthetic to it, so I'm going to probably search really quick for the baby powder, because it's got to be around here somewhere. Like, it can't be gone. Like, I used it in the recent past, so I'm thinking it might even be in the room somewhere if I looked closer. But that'll help me get that nice skin-like matte appearance. Cuts through. I got all the spots. Mostly got all the spots. Mm. Making sure I get all of the sensitive spots, all the tiny little edges and surfaces, because this color is about to dry and be dead to me. And I'm gonna have to remix something with the same colors that's a relative proximity, but it's okay if I don't get it dead on again, as I'm gonna be lightening it and darkening it with other colors at this point to add on top of this base coat that I just put down. I would like to find my baby powder before then, so I am probably going to stand up and wander around the workroom for a second and try and locate it. I know that I used it last when I primed that canvas, that piece of masonite that I streamed priming for my oil painting that I never started because life happened. Let's see. So I'm going to put this guy down real quick, and I'm going to go wander. Probably grab some more paper towel too, but it has to be somewhere. Like, it legit can't not exist anymore. It has to be in the house. Powdered babies. Art ingredient of champions. Yes, Roy Droid. Powdered babies. I'm gonna put a piece of tape on the bottle that says that now. How humans will interact with technology, because we will absolutely fuck any future technology. Yes, I agree. It's all about the fucking. Where's my baby? Powdered babies. Sucks. Ha! It's right there. Powdered babies. It's right here. It was hiding behind a bunch of shit within my shit. Ha! Okay. I can continue. Alright, guys. Okay. Not destroy anything now, Sarah. Right, I'm just gonna kind of dump some of this in the corner. Or no, screw it, I'll just add it. There. And again, what this does, in case you aren't familiar, it makes it more matte and porous looking, which is sometimes a nice effect to have with your paint. Instead of it being all shiny and slick looking like acrylic tends to dry looking like. The bleak tech future. I don't know. I'm hoping that my goal in life in general, but also for all the stuff that I'm doing for the rest of the year, is to kind of I've always been a fan of cyberpunk, the aesthetic of it, but I think my philosophy on life and my practice as an artist is to sort of live the actual embodiment of cyberpunk. So instead of just like creating the aesthetic of cyberpunk and wearing it, I want to actually create my own technology and wear it in public and sort of define actual cyberpunk as a functioning thing that exists in the world, like realistically. Because right now it's just sort of utilized as a stylistic genre. It's not actually used in practice, which means that there is this huge it's open for something to actually become the embodiment of cyberpunk functionally. So I kind of want to wear my backpack and have my robot baby in my papoose and walk around in one of my mechanical masks in some capacity and be the future that I wish that I lived in. So that's part of the goal in doing this. So it matters. That's why I'm taking the day off to paint my $12 Target Raptor mask. Crumbly. So yeah, adding the baby powder to your paint turns it into kind of a paste. Difficult to kind of explain it in any other way, but the more talc you add to acrylic, it becomes kind of like brownie or cake batter. It takes on this very like thick, creamy texture. And then it also dries porous, kind of like a piece of pumice or something, which is sometimes what I want. So I'm going to start mixing a little bit of that white, that unbleached titanium into the green or gray or whatever you want to call this color. And I'm going to make a slightly lighter version of what I just painted the entire mask with, and I'm going to go over sections of the mask with this. Oh, thank you. Golgothan. That's okay, I can still make a great artist. This is what I can do. It's what I strive to do. I don't know. I don't know what defines a great artist. I'm throwing that out there, but I have no idea what that means. Okay, so I'm just sort of dry brushing this lighter color over the darker color um, to give it a little bit more depth. This part is going to be super boring because it's just going to involve me looking and kind of picking and choosing how much I want to add and where, and it's just layers at this point. So I'm going to slowly work my way up in lightness. The areas that stick out of the face the most are going to become the lightest. And this is kind of like makeup contouring, but I'm doing it to a raptor. To make the parts of the face that stick out the most look like they stick out even more, you make them even lighter than they normally would be, and it gives the overall mask a bit more dynamic looking. So I'm just gonna kind of do that for the rest of forever, because I have no idea how long that's gonna take. Ooh, Cyberpunk 2077. That's funny. We all argued about that in the kiddie pool last Friday, consequently. Everyone, I think, in my group unanimously agrees that it looks super cool. Because, yeah, we're all nerds, we're all into cyberpunk, we're all fans of that future. Mark and I both have qualms with at least the trailer that we saw. Uh, there's this thing that happens with cyberpunk where people, I think when cyberpunk was being defined back in the 80s, the people who had to portray cyberpunk keyed in too heavily on the word punk. Like what punk means like in England with the Mohawks and like that genre of music and fashion style. And they created like cyber became a modifier to the word punk rather than punk becoming a modifier to the word cyber. And the very first thing you see in that trailer is a bunch of people on the subway that just look like futuristic punk rockers from like England, like Camden Town. And that misconception that has sort of become like a key core part of the representation of like Western cyberpunk culture is something that kind of like doesn't sit well with Mark or I. And we both kind of didn't sit well with either of us, I guess, to answer your question. But other than that, everything else about the game looked amazing, and I can't wait to see more of it. Like, I know my friend Matt, once it comes out, he'll probably bring his PS4 over for a day and play it, and I can experience the game vicariously through him, because I don't really buy consoles anymore, so the only way I would experience it is through him playing it. But yeah, it looks exciting, to answer your question. I'm happy personally, like as a fan of the cyberpunk genre. I'm happy to see that it's getting a little bit more. What's the word? It's more visible now than it ever was at any point in time during my teenage years or my 20s. I was kind of like the only person I knew who even knew what the fuck cyberpunk meant, like for most of my young adulthood. So now that it seems like it's becoming more mainstream, I get to consume more of it, which is, I guess, a good thing. Smile, wince, wince. Um, the other thing that I'm gonna drop probably today is I made a landing page for the Shiban project. Um, I'm speaking at in San Francisco next month for one of the hardware developers didactic galactics for a hackaday. And I'm specifically bringing everything that I've developed so far for the Shiban project with me to kind of introduce it and talk about it in its entirety. Um, that project's going to be pretty important to me. I'm kind of figuring out. I'm wanting to focus mainly on it. Like I have some other stuff that I need to sort of focus on and work out in regard to what I may or may not be exhibiting at the end of the summer. With noodle feet, but other than that, like I kind of want to focus on all my arousal peripherals because that's where my heart's at right now. Like that's really what matters to me at the moment. That is where I want to put my energy. Whether the world will let me or not is another story. Let me read what you guys are talking about. The great artists are doing movies to appear inspired and get across their ideas. I agree, Kia. Communication is super important. Art at the end of the day is communication. It's the communication of complex ideas. Bump mapping the raptor bumps? Yes. Crypto is the new cyber. Yeah, I agree with you, Vi. Oh, cool. Kia, you say your opening to Cyberpunk was Neuromancer. I wish I had read that earlier. I'm kind of bummed. Like, I'm ashamed to admit that I was introduced to Neuromancer by Mark. He had me listen to it on the way to camping. When was that? Like 4 years ago? So it wasn't very long ago. Like, it took me that much time to actually get around to reading or listening to Neuromancer. And it, like, fucking just didn't change my life, but it had an impact on me. Like I was already for like most of my life a fan of everything that exactly what that was, but I was so sad that that didn't exist, like that had no part in it, but equally as happy and excited to be reading it or listening to it for the first time because it was like having ice cream at like age like whatever I was 27, 28 for like the first time, and it was amazing. It was just like a massive weight in my face just slamming into me. It was like a wave. Quantum has been the buzzword of choice for much of the last century. Yeah. I need to read Snow Crash. That's one of my close friends' favorite books. And I'm bummed, not bummed, but kind of disappointed in myself for not getting around to read that either. I'm a bad friend. Contour the raptor bumps. that being said, this panel that I'm speaking on, I'll be doing so with 2 of the other participants, whatever, contestants, I don't know, 2 of the other people that I was on the Mythbusters search with. I believe, I might be misquoting this, but I'm pretty sure Alan and Tamara are both on this panel as well. Like, Alan's the one who kind of pinged me about it. So it'll be good to see Alan again, because I haven't seen him since, shit, like, it was like this time last year when we did the Wonder Woman kind of collab video thing. And hopefully I can catch up with them about how life has been and what everyone's doing these days. Life's different. Life is totally different now. In kind of a good way. And yes, Tony, I am always too busy to consume anything. I'm a horrible consumer. Easy parody, it turns up a lot in cyberpunk ideas to absurd levels, and somehow it works. Neil Stevenson writes, great. Mark got me a couple books by Neil Stevenson. I just haven't finished any of them because, as Tony just pointed out, I'm terrible at consuming anything. It's true. Raptor Condwine. Dry brushing. You can hear my original art professor reminding me to remember to wipe. It's funny how that seems to be like a universal tip in both painting and soldering, is to remember to wipe your tip. Because now, like, I hear Mark's voice saying that as well, but for a completely different reason. Remember to wipe your tip, Sarah. I do need to consume more, though. I mean, that's where the inspiration comes from. Like, you have to input things in order to create output, because all the shit that you take in coalesces in your head and becomes what you... Ultimately, it becomes the kernel of what you create. Whether you can see... Whether you can recognize in hindsight what attributed to the thing you create or not, it still came from somewhere. So I have to keep experiencing things, at least, so that it turns around and becomes output. I think the primary thing that I consume these days that influences my work is conversation. I like talking to people, like in person, in real life, and taking the ideas that come from conversations and manifesting those in some form. But I'm really bad about watching shows or listening to music or reading books or even really going to see movies. Like, the only movie I've seen in a good long minute was with Tony, who may or may not be in here. That's not true. I saw Solo recently, but I went to see Deadpool 2, but before that, I don't remember the last movie I saw. Like, it had been, I think, a year since I went to a movie theater. It's just something I don't do. Like, I have to have somebody literally drag me physically to go see a movie before I'll go. Like, I'm never gonna wake up and be like, hey, let's go to the movies. Like, it's just not something that this raptor does. I feel like I'm doing my makeup. Who's a pretty raptor? I'm a pretty raptor. Look at those bumps. Don't they look nice? They're like delicious bumps. It's pretty, pretty scales. Next time my mom gets on my case about not wearing enough makeup, I'm gonna show her this. She hasn't really done that in years, though. I think she gave up. Yes, you were right. I will totally go to the movies for John Wick 3, Tony. I was thinking in the kiddie pool next, whenever we get the TV set up, we need to watch either, I was thinking WALL-E would be a fun thing to watch in the pool. And then I kind of have a hankering to watch the original Mummy movie with no, what the fuck is his name again? Oh my god, why can I not remember his name? George of the Jungle. That guy. That mummy. Like, not the one with whoever the hell redid it recently. But the old, like, campy one that came out, like, back when we were 10. Like, I want to watch that movie again in the pool while it's hot. And then, of course, John Wick. I need to see John Wick and the kitty. John Wick and the kitty night. Brandon Frazier. There you go. That was his name. Yeah, thank you, James. I agree. Nah, my mom, she's a different type of animal than I am. But yeah, she hasn't nagged me about makeup in a good minute, so it's kind of unfair of me to bring it up. But since it used to be a thing, I do still feel compelled to do so. La la la. Yeah. I do wear makeup. It's just only, like, on occasions when I really, really want to, which isn't very often. Because again, like I mentioned, I don't like putting stuff on my face. it's never been a pleasant experience for me. I don't like it when my face feels dirty, and I don't like having stuff in my eyes, which tends to inevitably happen when you put stuff in such close proximity to your eyes. But yeah, the cool thing about Comic-Con is that, I mean, I haven't been working on it lately because I've been busy, but I do have my webcomic that I can promote. Ooh, I was gonna do that. I was gonna finally get noodle stickers made and then pass them out at Comic-Con, so if anyone asks, like, what I am by chance, which I doubt anyone will, because it's not like I'm gonna have anything on that's, like, amazingly fantastic, but if someone does happen to inquire what the deal is with my getup, I can hand out a card that links them back to my own webcomic content. And since Noodle Feet is technically a character in my webcomic, I can be like, well, he's a little star. You should read more about the world that he comes from. So I need to finish my papoose. Like, if there's ever been a time where the papoose seems, like, weirdly necessary, it seems like this is the year that it's gonna have to become a thing. I'm pretty confident in my harness building abilities now, after having made that heart backpack and it actually working as a backpack, like, for the entire trip to Japan without breaking. I feel a little bit better about, yeah, making the papoose for Noodle and then putting him in it and walking around hands-free with him just sort of his safety and well-being being in the hands of the thing that I've created. He'll be good. But yeah, I'm gonna walk around with Noodle and a papoose at Comic-Con. Cause yeah, I'm gonna be my robot mommy self, I guess. I'm gonna be a mom. God, if 20-year-old me knew that when I finally got to go to Comic-Con I was gonna be going as a mom, I would cry. I don't know. I guess given the context, it's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna mix a little bit lighter of this color and start working my way down in value. One thing that sucks about acrylic paint is it does dry pretty quickly, so you have to kind of work fast, which is not what I'm good at doing. And I'm gonna start lightening up certain areas now that I kind of see where I want them to go. Oh, Tony, that's an excellent idea. For Halloween, not this year, but the year before, I made Noodle a Deadpool costume, and he went as Noodle Pool for Halloween. Like, not Pool Noodle, Noodle Pool. That's right. And he looked adorable. He was the most adorable Deadpool ever that has ever existed. Fight me. He was, like, fucking cute as shit. Man, I need to, yeah, I might do that. Hmm. I'll think about it, because then he's unrecognizable as Noodle. And people at Comic-Con aren't going to necessarily know who Noodle is. So, I don't know, it's almost kind of nice that Noodle does go as himself, because then he's just a robot, and people will see him as just Robot Noodle, which is interesting all by itself. So I'm thinking maybe for the second day, the day of the panel that I'm going to be on, I'll dress him up, but not on the main day that I'm going to be there walking around. Noodle has the best Halloween costumes, by the way. Like, instead of making myself, like, I know I'm a parent now, and I've accepted, like, being a parent, because every year for Halloween now, instead of making myself a costume, I just end up making one for Noodle, and I'll spend, like, a significant amount of time on doing so, because I want my kid to have a good Halloween experience, which I then in turn experience vicariously through him, so that's how I celebrate these days. Noodle pool. Noodle. I'll post pictures. I'll dig them up. The only thing that sucks about that costume was it was kind of a one-time wear thing, because I think half of it was like just straight black gaff tape holding it together. So it's a costume I'll have to actually assemble onto him for the con, but it's probably okay. It's not a big deal. Yeah, this is definitely like putting makeup on. So after I do the highlights, I don't think I'm gonna have as many shadows or shadowy areas, because the color that I started with, the base tone, was probably a little bit darker than medium. So as a result, I am going to be doing more lightening up than darkening. I still can't get TensorFlow to like work, by the way. I don't know how many of you guys are aware of the fact that that's like my main point of contention right now in like development regarding Noodle. Like Mark and I have been trying to no avail to get TensorFlow running on something. At first we were trying to get it on a Raspberry Pi, which is what Noodle would be using it. What Noodle would be using, but we can't yet. Like, I'm just trying to get it to run on my Mac or his Mac at this point in time, and we're having issues doing that still. The install is just a pain in the ass, and it doesn't want to cooperate, so I don't know. Like, at some point in time, hopefully that gets sorted, because, yeah, it's important. Noodle will be cosplaying as Noodle Pool. Maybe. Noodle says he wants to wear a costume. I guess that makes sense. Since Noodle is attending Comic-Con this year with me, like, he should have his own costume. I mean, why wouldn't he have a costume? Yeah, I know Micah has the Tuco flyer that does the recognition of the kitty. I was thinking of messaging her about it, but I don't want to bother her. Like, I feel bad asking for too much help, but I don't know. I might get over that and ping her for some help or feedback in the near future here, because yeah, we're starting to hit, like, not critical speed bumps, but just it's getting annoying. Like, machine learning stuff is annoying. I'm learning. Damn those buzzwords. Does anybody have a recipe for a good summer cocktail? I feel like I should ask that. Assuming that you guys enjoy exotic beverages, does anybody have something that they blend or mix that's like something you'd want to drink on a hot summer day? Because I'm definitely gonna give something a go on this coming Friday. Preferably something with ice cream or sherbet or something in it. So I wish you guys could see this, but the mask it has this rough, gritty texture to it from the baby powder. So I am glad that I did go out of my way to find that, because otherwise it wouldn't have finished quite like this. The metallic quality of the undercoat is still kind of peeking out through the paint that I'm putting on top of it, but I kind of like the look that I'm getting. It's kind of probably difficult to tell, but it's not entirely matte and it's not entirely metallic. It's kind of percentages of both, which looks kind of nice. And there isn't as much depth, from what I can see, on your end as there is in real life, which is unfortunate. But it probably is just telling me I need to keep going. But you can kind of see a little bit more value up here. I'll keep layering. Excuse me. Whew. Time for a sip of beer. Oh, God. Oh, hi, Micah. Thing works well for now. From the YOLO project? Using a pre-trained network from the YOLO. I'm not familiar with the YOLO project. Switch architecture. I don't know a whole lot about machine learning. I'm actually, somebody found me an article to go off of, and they have a pretty decent outline on how to install just, I guess, TensorFlow and train that. So given that we can actually get it installed, I was just going to follow those instructions and pray, but I have a feeling that's not going to work out as smoothly as I was hoping. If I was forming my own 18 pack. Ooh, coconut rum mixed with milk and ice. Okay, that sounds good actually. Written code that that was glue. Someone. Ah, okay. I'll keep doing research. I haven't given up yet. Or at least I haven't given up on, like, nagging Mark to help me get something working yet. Alabama Slammer cocktail in the summer. 1 ounce Southern Comfort, 1 ounce slow. God. Amaretto and orange juice. That sounds good. That also sounds like it would give me a killing, smashing, murdering, face-fucking headache. Yeah. That's the other thing about, like, mixing a bunch of stuff and then just downing it and hoping that you, don't suffer later from it. I know that, like, we'll probably mix the first batch of whatever we end up making very well, but after 1 or 2 rounds of whatever said cocktail we end up producing, we are going to get probably heavy-handed and sloppy and end up making things that will only work towards our detriment later on in the night. Which is more reason why we should just stick to beer, and I should just sort of scrap this whole orange creamsicle summer cocktail drink, like, altogether. Because I remember last year, I think for the closing season get-together of kiddie pool night, we ended up drinking Moscow Mules, and everyone just got slammed. Which is fine, it's just, I don't know. That's not the intent, believe it or not. There were a couple. Detecting not cats. I agree, detecting cats is the best usage of image recognition. For me, like, I just want to make, like, a image recognition repo called Fisty for Noodle's stuffed animal. Like, for me, I'm fulfilling this desire that I have to draw boxes around things and have it say, like, a percentage value and then the word, like, fisty or throaty or dew or any of the other absurd names that I've given Noodle's stuffed animals. Because that brings me joy for some reason. And I just want to see a box around my head that says 100% mommy, because that would make me happy. 100% fisty. That should be the name of the installation. It's 100% fisty. Probably be 100% mommy, to be fair. Ryan, they always start out as sipping drinks. That's the problem. But if it tastes good, it's going to turn into a it's hot outside and this is getting put inside of me as fast as possible sort of drink. Alright, keep working before your paint dries, Sarah. Okay. Need acrylic paint. Okay, I'm just going to continue stepping this down and brushing layers on to give it more depth for now. Okay. Also, I really, really wish I was back in Japan. I think anytime my thoughts stray anywhere and I start just thinking, I am wishing I was back there and I'm thinking about what I would be doing if I were. So I have to find either some way to get back there or I need to save up for a trip because I now actually have a list of things I want to do. Like before I went over there for the first time, I didn't really know what to do and I kind of winged it, which is good. That's what you got to do when you're new to a place. But now that I kind of have an idea like where I would like to explore more, that's all I can really think about. So that's something that needs to get figured out, especially now that I know that it's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. Tokyo is actually surprisingly affordable, which I wasn't expecting. Unlike here in Las Vegas, at no point in time during that trip did I feel like I was being taken advantage of. Cost-wise. Like, I didn't feel like I was being ripped off. Where, if you go pretty much anywhere near the strip here, you become so used to the feeling of just price rape that you just try not to think about it. Like, paying upwards of $20 for a cocktail on the strip here for just a shitty beer is quite common. But there's nothing like that over there. Drinks, like, on average were like $3, $4, $5. $5 at most, really. Which was nice, because I could just sort of relax and enjoy myself without, like, having that weird rapey feeling creeping up on me all the time. Hmm. 20% not the mama. Oh, that's the name of the mode, the behavioral mode that he goes in when he doesn't recognize me or recognize mama. He goes into not the mama mode. That's just what it's called in the software, or what it will be called in the software. We're gonna need another Timmy. Oh no, Ryan says off of those you've been so smashed you couldn't walk. See, that's what I'm trying to avoid. See, with it hot outside like that, if we do choose to drink as much as we do sometimes, everyone always ends up with a killer headache because of the heat. So I'm trying to come up with a way that we can enjoy a cocktail, get kind of buzzed, but still kind of keep it on the slow side. As far as I can tell. And before time. Oh yeah. It's 4:04, guys. Mark's officially off work. Probably on his way home. See, once he gets home and we eat dinner and stuff, like I have effectively like 2 work modes. Like during the day, I work on certain projects. Like if I have something to record, I film because the lighting's good. It's daytime. I'll stream because I'm alone and it's private, and I'll do anything that I might need to document, just simply because it's daytime outside, I guess. Once Mark gets home and he's here, I tend to do the sitting at the computer type work, which tends to be like editing or working on like a landing page for something, or doing something where I need his help so he can sit with me and do what he does best. So that part of the day is probably going to start here, not terribly soon. I try to make it a habit to go outside and have a cocktail around 5 o'clock every day and watch the sunset, because it's like the only like small ass amount of vitamin D I do get in the summer. Difficult to see how that's coming along. Yeah, it all just looks kind of like one color still. Ugh. It doesn't in real life, I swear. There's a little bit more granularity. So I found this shelf liner stuff that Mark gave me back a couple years ago is really great material for making harnesses because it doesn't stretch at all. I sadly used the last of it up for the 2 backpacks that I've made recently, the pulse packs. So it would make great material for the noodle papoose, but I'm gonna have to go and try and find some more of it someplace. He says it was shelf liner that he got from like IKEA or something, so I'll have to go back and see if I can hunt some more down and then use that for my noodle papoose. That stuff is strong, I was surprised. Not that the backpack is by any means very heavy, but Noodle's got a little bit of weight to him. He's a heavy boy. Noodle. Noodle's so well behaved. This is the best stress relief, by the way. Believe it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and paint his, or my, fleshy jaw bottom piece coming up here, because it needs to not stay that tan. It's probably going to be a compromise between that level of like peach and this gray that I'm using. So I have to ask, Micah, if you're still there, how difficult was it to get the, I guess your software recognizing Tuco and I guess displaying the box drawn around him and tracking him the way that you wanted? Like, was it a difficult thing to do? I mean, I'm guessing it was, because from the experience that we've had, it seems it seems like the curve is pretty steep, but once you figure it out, then maybe it's a little bit easier to work with. In which case, we're still at the meaty, challenging part. I don't know, but I'm curious because it's effectively exactly what I want to achieve, is something that does the box tracing, like the labeling. Like, it's kind of a quaint thing to me to have a machine decide that something is a thing and then label it. And that's all I'm striving for right now, is effectively that. Which is a lot, but that's what I'm hoping to pull off by the end of the summer, is at the very least, something that recognizes me, like my face, and at the very most, like an entire like library of things, potentially. Funny. Doing stuff together and writing some graphic code and making things compile. The labeling was based on a rendered layer that I wrote as part of an OBS plugin. That's... I wish I had the patience to go back and... I mean, I technically do. I have patience. I just wish I had the time to go back and learn just how to write, like, do programming well. I'm not really quite sure what software I want to use. I don't really have a preference. I'm trying to reach for what seems like the lowest hanging fruit at the moment. And I would like to get something working on a Raspberry Pi, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be very, like, viable. So I'm thinking I might just stream what the camera module on the Raspberry Pi sees over to like, effectively a noodle cloud, like either my computer or a computer, and then just have that running in the vicinity to do the processing. Because I want him to be able to, at the very, again, like at the very least, recognize what faces are and recognize what a generic face is and draw a box around it. And then also, in the case that he sees my face, also draw a box around that and then identify that as something that is recognized versus other faces that aren't recognized. So that's the goal. I'm not quite sure I'm not quite sure what I'm asking the machine to do yet. I'm thinking I'll probably end up figuring that out once I get to that part, but I'm not even there yet. Like, Mark and I can't even get anything to install properly on any device yet, so that's kind of been a pain. If you have any suggestions or anything based on that, like, I would really appreciate input, because I don't know what I'm doing again. But yeah. No, don't try. Okay. Yeah, it's fun developing with Market Knight. He has his own stuff going on right now, though, so he's been kind of busy. Like, he's about to open up his own Tindy store, finally. Which is good, because he has way more interesting and useful stuff than I do. And he wants to start releasing it as, like, projects and products and stuff to make some extra money, so... and he has, like, streams that he wants to do, because he started streaming, like, a couple months ago, and he kind of just got out of the practice of doing it, I guess. But I need to keep nudging him to continue with that, because he's fun to watch, and he's got a lot of really good ideas, performance-y ideas. You'll see what I mean. Like, I was kind of hoping he would start doing that while I was gone a couple of weeks ago, but there's still a lot of house renovation to do, so I kind of understand why he didn't. Yeah, I cannot wait to sit in the kiddie pool in 2 days. Okay, I think I'm going to add a few more highlights to this, and I'm going to call this portion, the highlighting, done, and I'm going to switch to doing my shadows. I don't know if Mark just showed up or not. I don't think so. I'd hear it. So I'm going to throw in a few hot highlights here and there for now. I'm probably going to go back with like a finer brush or a softer brush and add some like color variation and shit later, but for now, for like the most base top monochromatic coat, I think I'm there. This so far has the depth I'm looking for. I don't want to keep mucking with it. It's like face contouring for raptors. Imagine me in pretty lingerie and this mask. I'm just kidding, don't do that. That's gonna be my Comic-Con costume. Go me. Not really lingerie, but kind of like a bathing suit, I guess. I totally wasn't brave enough to walk around Tokyo in just a leotard, by the way. I feel it's necessary to point this out. I had stuff I actually wanted to do, and it didn't make sense to go see a city for the first time, like, completely uncomfortable. Although I did take Noodle out and kind of do that on my last day. I just explored, like, the immediate area around my hotel, and I did bring Noodle in a babushka and wear all my Shiban garb and walk around, because I was kind of comfortable with that area, and I didn't care if I looked weird or not. But initially, yeah, I like woke up on Monday and I was like, I don't know if I really feel like doing that in that way. Hmm. Why is this stuff drying so fast? Stop it. No. Hmm. Which, by the way, if you happen to be at San Diego Comic-Con and you see a person walking around in this mask, it's me. And you should totally say something weird and uncomfortable to them. Get Mark's home. Ha! That's right, doesn't Adam Savage walk around? Wait, who? Totally not creepy, James, don't worry. And Roy Droid, yeah, it's either me or Adam Savage doing his prank. It's right, he does walk around like in a face-covered thing and kind of anonymously do trolling, doesn't he? Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you can kind of see the texturing. Yeah, I guess it's starting to look, you can see it on the screen now. It looks better in real life, but it's starting to look pretty decent on the whatever, the Wi-Fi camera thing. Wi-Fi streamy camera, whatever you are, webcam with paint on you, and that thing's wrecked. That night that Tony and I did the paint throwing at the wall at Blue Man, kind of totally broke this thing in. Like, you can't see it, but just take my word for it. It's covered in like multicolored wall paint still. But yeah, this thing's coming along. Yeah, the next step is to just, I need to do this part. It's gonna not be quite as like peachy peach colored. I'm gonna try and make it match the skin color of the raptor a bit more and maybe blend into my Sarah flesh tone a little bit. Basically a compromise between this green and this peach. And then I'm gonna call it done. It looks pretty good. Like, I'm satisfied with it. It's like a gray, like a clay green gray color. that's satisfying. But yeah. I might actually go ahead and do the jaw before the rest of this paint dries. But that means I need to pull off this masquering tape. The Lion in Wizard of Oz. To make a suit that makes him look... That would impress me too, James. If he went as... If anyone sees a tall, like, white chick and a raptor mask, it's Adam Savage. Yes, he does got skills. If anybody can make such a suit, it'd be him. Yes. Lacing. Lots of lace. I should just go in lace. If anyone sees somebody in a bathing suit and a raptor mask, it's Adam Savage. That's funny. No, that'll be me. I mean, I hope he wouldn't be walking around with noodle feet and a papoose. That's my job. I gotta take care of my young. I need to make sure my young has good life experiences so that he doesn't grow up angry and want to take over the world. Like mommy. Oh. Well, the thought Mark had gotten home. I can, like, hear his car pull into the carport outside, and I swear that's what I just heard. Maybe he's, like, fighting the mailbox or something. Oh. I can't tell. It doesn't matter. The Totoro meetup, that's cool. I'm excited to go. It's like a whole part of maker culture that I haven't really been exposed to yet, so I'm kind of geeked to see it. Okay, so I'm gonna paint the bottom jaw now. I'm trying to mix a color that I'm like happy with what's left here. This like crust that I'm trying to revive from like dry paint death. It's kind of like a gray peach. It's pretty light. I think I'm happy with it. No, no mark. Okay, I was wrong. It could probably be a little more peach than that. Hard to say. Maybe a little bit more raw titanium, whatever this is. Nope, he is home. I heard a door slam. So he can come in and greet you guys. You can be like, hey Mark, and he'll be like, hey guys. And then he's gonna like dive into his board design. He's doing this crazy board layout that has like 8 million pins and the traces are like smaller than Sense. Not that Sense has a size, but they're insanely small and routed very tight together. It's very impressive. Ah! Ah! Hi. Ah, say hi to everybody.
Are you streaming?
I'm streaming. I'm screaming. I'm screaming for a streaming. Come say hi to the humanity.
To humanity?
Yeah.
Modifying your thing?
Yes. Say hi. Get in here. Climb in here and say.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, there he is. I'll lean over. And go there. Say hi, Mark. Oh,
yeah.
Hi, Mark. Mark. Vi says hi. See, look.
Hi, Vi.
Look.
How are you doing?
Mark.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you do the top already?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it looks like total. You gonna weather it? You gonna get some black in the corners?
I'm gonna add dark. I haven't done the shadows yet.
I almost would have painted
highlights.
the corners and then did the highlights and then rubbed it.
That's what I'm.
We're gonna rub the black after. You're gonna
Yes.
put a little bit of black and then rub it. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm dry brushing.
Dry brusher.
Yes.
She put little blood on the teeth.
No. No. This is me. I'm going as me.
Yeah, you just had a steak or something.
I don't walk around with blood on my face. What are you trying to suggest about me?
Nothing.
God. Is your opinion of me that horrendous, mister?
You eat raw meat.
I do. It's so good.
You have blood on your teeth.
Mark thinks I'm a monster.
Not even rare.
It's
bloody.
Bloody meat. Raptors eat bloody meat. What can I say? It's our prerogative.
A little bit of Maillard reaction.
No.
Just a little.
No. Raw. It's like sushi. You eat raw fish. Mark.
That's different.
No. It's raw. Honey.
Fish doesn't bleed.
Yeah, they do. Are you saying fish don't have feelings?
Not when you eat them. They're already dead.
What's wrong with you? Yeah. I'm like explaining that I'm gonna wear this to the Comic-Cons. Fish have feelings, Vi. Fish are friends, not food. Remember that.
Unless you're hungry, then they're just food.
No.
You ate sushi the other day. Hannibal.
I like cows too, but I eat them. Yeah. Who's ready to have a beer out on the garage? Lawn, whatever.
Yes.
Dirt. The dirt patch that we sit in and dwell in. On. I don't know how to talk. What do you want to eat tonight? Mark wants me to have blood on my teeth. Noodle says that would scare him. He says...
Noodle doesn't have blood.
Noodle says he doesn't want to walk around. Mommy has blood all over her face. He says, what did Mommy just do? He's like, did she do something she wasn't supposed to do? He's confused. He wants to know why mommy would do that. Shape. Oh man. Hi, Polisqualis. Tuco is licking. Aww. Tell Tuco I say hello. He's enjoying the noodle. Violently consume the things you love. I agree, Vi. That's like the best way to consume things that are loved. Like meat, like raw meat. You violently push it inside of yourself. That's like the best. I agree. Right, Mark?
Yes.
He says yes. Man, I know I want a steak. I agree, James. Why would... Aw, I guess it wouldn't scare Noodle. I guess it's up to Noodle to decide whether it would scare him or not.
What?
Having blood on my face and walking around with him. He'd probably just kick his feet.
So just say that's nature's way and mommy needs to eat.
He'd just be happy.
It's the same way that he mashes things.
He says it's mommy's form of deep mashing.
Yes.
Noodle says sometimes you just have to. Nature insists that you do it, so you do it. Oh my god, I need every ounce of this dried up, pasty garbage paint. I'm just like straight out painting my hand now. I don't care. It needs to get on there before it dries out. This is super enjoyable. I need to do this more often. Like this painting of arbitrary things.
Yeah.
It's the best. Not that this is very arbitrary. I mean, I do really like dinosaurs, and of course I bought a $10 like jaw clenchy raptor mask because Sarah. I'm like a weird Bob Ross. Sorry, I totally pulled that off camera for a bit. Wasn't paying attention. Just happy little blood. Noodle. That's not how we make friends. I just have these like weird irrational daydreams of like me leaving Noodle in the gallery like during the festival this fall and him like waking up at midnight and just like destroying shit or making a giant mess, like leaving puddles in weird places and stuff. And then like the gallery people come in the next morning to open up the art show and there's just like shit everywhere and they have no idea. They think like raccoons got in and like caused a ruckus, but it's really just Noodle being a feisty little 3-year-old in the night. Brotaku, thank you. I'm glad you like the raptor face. I think it looks way better than it did when I originally bought it, or at least closer to what I kind of want it to look like. I should have totally taken before and after pictures. That's unfortunate. I guess I can always buy another one of these as a reference and just be like, yeah, this is what it once was. Let's use... I should do. That's a little bit closer to what I wanted it to be. Yoshi? Yeah, you're right, Vi. Since they're like perfect, separate, like chunk pieces, I'm guessing that's where the hardware is that makes the jaw hinge. Since it is, yeah, so pronounced, it right now does look exactly like Yoshi. That is hilarious. Thank you for observing that and telling me, because that's hilarious. I'm laughing inside. I have to like paint these scars kind of a pink color so that they look like legit scars. I think that was like the intent of putting those like streaks on there. You can kind of see them. Oh well. Bye, Yoshi. Mark, what's your favorite Rush album?
Hold Your Fire.
Hold Your Fire? I thought it was Signals.
Oh shit. I'd say in the old Rush, Signals is the best, and then in the newer, later years, that Hold Your Fire was my favorite.
Okay.
But I love Signals too, yes. Those two are probably the top. And then Moving Pictures.
Because I talked about Rush all morning. We had a Rush discussion. Again, I think mine is still Snakes and Ladders, because that was like that was the album of my youth.
Yep. Snakes and Arrows. Snakes and Ladders.
Did I say Snakes and Ladders?
Wow.
Did I say Snakes and Ladders? Are you serious?
Yes.
I don't even remember. I don't even fucking remember.
Here's a game.
Sorry.
You should make that game.
Sorry, Getty Lee, if you're listening. I didn't mean to, like... That's
kind of tabletop game that Snakes and Ladders do.
Shoots and ladders. Snakes.
Exactly.
Is it snakes
Maybe
in it?
you hang snakes on little ladders, and then there's some...
God. I think I'm going to rush hell. I'm sorry.
You could have hexagon-shaped cards, and you have snake cards and ladder cards.
Is this going to be a thing now? Is this like...
Yeah, like what would that be as a tabletop game? Maybe that's a Kickstarter.
I don't do tabletop
Snakes and Ladders.
Games.
Inspired by Rush.
I think that's what they were going for.
What?
The,
Snakes and Arrows?
Yeah, the album cover looks like Shoots and Ladders, but it's Snakes and Arrows.
Oh, maybe they were ripping.
So that's where my brain, my heart...
Interesting.
So it wasn't me, it was them that did it.
They programmed
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. A mechanism to stick out the Yoshi tongue? Mark!
What?
I need a Yoshi tongue. Do you want to make me a Yoshi tongue?
It'd be like a servo, 3D printed tongue, and the sound.
It has to make the sound.
You do the SD card thing. You already do that.
Is Yoshi technically a raptor?
What is he? He's like a little dinosaur.
He's a little dinosaur, but is he a raptor?
He's not a dragon, right?
No, he's a dinosaur. They're all dinosaurs in Mario Land, right? I don't even know. I'm saying this like I'm an expert. No. To me, they're dinosaurs. In my raptor heart. There. Less Yoshi-like. Oh my god, I can't get my hand out of my own face. There. Reposition the garbage. There. I even shoved a piece of tape in its mouth so that it wouldn't close all the way. Yeah, it's obviously a lizard horse. Vi Grace says lizard horse. Get your story straight. Mark.
Wait, what? He's a lizard horse?
No. But sure. Why not? I like lizard horse. Noodle says sometimes he's a lizard horse. There. There's like touch-ups that need to be made, and again, I need to do the shadows to this thing, but the jaw has been jawed. I'm pretty mostly happy with it to start. I mean, obviously I'm gonna probably go back and screw with this, like, a lot, because I am what I am. But for like a first sitting of like paint coat, it's pretty much what I want it to be. Like, this is the color scheme that I would envision myself as. What are they called? Like your fursona? Is that what furries have? I mean, since I'm not like a furry person, I guess I have like a scale sona. Is there a equivalent, a reptilian equivalent to a furry, or is it also furry? I don't know. But yeah, my raptor, my self-image is more like this. It's less the orange-brown that it was previously, and more of this sort of, it's like a cool kind of olivey gray clay scale. I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of like illustrations of raptors portrayed in a similar color scheme as this. I'm probably going to add, again, like the shadows, like I mentioned, probably after a beer. I'll go ahead and close some of these blinds and turn the lights back on and like do another pass, but I'm gonna call like this sitting finished. And since it's 4:50, I don't know, that gives us enough time to say our goodbyes, and then I encourage you to go have a 5 o'clock cocktail, even if it's not 5 o'clock wherever you are in the world. I don't know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, like here. So I encourage you to capitalize on that and know that you'll be having a drink with me. And Mark and I will be like cheersing each other. We'll cheers you too, right, Mark?
Yes.
So I'm gonna have another one of these. A dirty beer, which if you've never had one before, I highly recommend it. Like, if you happen to have Worcestershire sauce and Tabasco in your refrigerator, and something that's a cerveza, like don't do this to a Guinness. That might be good. But like if you have like a wheat beer or something, don't do it to that. Like if you happen to have like a light beer or a cerveza, give it a try. It's very summery. Or at least, I don't know, I think it's satisfying. But I don't know, hey, since this is probably pretty dry and I've showered, here, let me put this on. That's how I can wrap this up. Oh god, don't stick. Wow, it smells like paint. Yeah. Because this isn't at all terrifying. Okay, so here's your nightmare fuel for like the rest of the week. Yeah. I need to do something about this chin strap. I'm probably gonna replace it with something that's a little bit more like on a helmet. Yeah. So if you see somebody that looks like this at Comic-Con, it's probably me. Ha! Ah! Ah! Ah. That's weird. Yeah, I need to fix this. That's weird. I also can't see myself very well because I have no glasses on. Just a pretty raptor. That's awesome. Ha. Yeah. Yeah, if I tightened this chin strap up so that it wasn't just like clipping the edge of my chin down here, I could probably get a little bit more granularity when I talk. Ah. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. Fuck, I'm knocking shit over. I can't drink with this on, unfortunately, and I'm not gonna try. No, not happening. Um, Mark.
Mm.
Ah!
Oh god, that's terrifying.
Yes. Alright. I'm gonna go have a beer with Mark out on the patio. Cheers if you have a cocktail too. Happy hour, and I'll see you, I don't know, I'll see you the next stream whenever I do my next thing. And thank you for joining me. Thank you for keeping me company while I did this today. This was super fun. Oh god. Now I have to eat it off. Oh god. Cool. Thanks guys. Thank you for watching me make my I don't know what I would call this. My raptor persona. It was super fun. I'll post a before and after picture of this on Twitter, like in another, oh, I don't know, sometime tonight after I do a little bit more on this. And then I'll also post it in the Discord, which I always do this now before I sign off, because it seems like I ought to. Oh man, I can't see anything. This is weird. Here, in the chat, this is my Discord. Hang out with us. It's a bunch of cool maker people talking about whatever, listening to music, and just continuing the dialogue after the stream. And yeah. Cool. Alright, I'll see you guys around. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day or evening. Where are my glasses? Oops.